so won't talk to me. But you can love the me that someday I'll grow up to be. So don't give up on me. Don't give up on me. This isn't what we wanted, it's all we know. So don't give up on me now. Leave me alone. This isn't what we wanted, it's all we know. So don't give up on me now.
We could be here for the next couple of days going through all the combinations that are possible in just what we did. The edge of hand blow, tiger claw, the chin jab, single shoulder stop, double shoulder stop. It's up to you now to find those combinations that work best for you. Based it on your height, your weight, your physical structure, whether you're right-handed, you're left-handed, you come up with your own favorite combinations. Just make sure to work them honestly. Be honest with yourself. Okay, am I sandbagging this, or am I training that I could really use this to defend my life if I had to? So that's what's very, very important.
If you're making a mistake, or just even a couple times of practice combination, didn't work out the way I planned it, great.
There is no mistake. I like to say, for those of you who remember Bob Ross, the Bob Ross painting technique, he would say, there are only happy accidents. Same thing in close combat. Don't get into the mindset that there has to be a certain way of doing things, A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3. Whatever happens, happens. Whatever comes out, comes out. As long as you're standing and he's down, whatever you did right.
And we didn't even get into adding, again, don't forget the vertical edge of hands that we just talked about in the beginning. Again, experiment, put your own together. Oh, and yes, by the way, fill the base of your training dummy with, this fits about 150 pounds of sand. So, use a little common sense. And especially when you're doing the hand conditioning, let pain be your guide. So I tell everybody I work out with, if something feels, there's going to be some discomfort, just go nice and easy with all of this stuff. Okay, the idea is it hurts. It's going to. It's actually going to be making contact with something. Okay, so there's no way you're walking away unscathed, even if it is just a sore hand.
Right, even if you hit a guy, you're still going to scrape your knuckles and hurt your hand. So there's always going to be some element of pain involved. Just train honestly. Train honestly. One thing that really kills me sometimes is I hear guys talk about techniques and they don't know what they could do and what they should do, and is the edge of hand blow with the thumb up, with the thumb down. If you can't figure out in training how to train well and what to do, then what the hell are you going to do in a real fight? So again, you got to train honestly. Use your head. Okay, back to our Spar Pro. Now, practicing the various blows that we just went over in a manner that's going to help increase explosive strength. Very simply, the two ways to do this, one would be through pure isometric muscular contraction of the technique, and then through isokinetic, where we would try to include not only the tension but also movement. Very, very simple. If Damien were just to stand here and just place the edge of hand blow on the throat. Now he's going to position himself in a strong position, and all he's going to do now is push. And he's going to hold that position. He's going to try to hold it for a count between 12 and 20 seconds. Then he's going to relax. And he's going to do it again. Good. And he would do this for a series or a set, anywhere from 6 to 12 or 15, depending on what you want to do. Don't try to find the comfortable position. In other words, when Damien puts the form underneath the Spar Pro, he can find the position here where he could probably lay here all day long if he wanted to. What he's trying to do now is he's putting tension through everything in his body. Okay, everything. Okay, this is all tense. This is all tense, almost like doing a Shimei test on a science sheet. Now, he did this with the entire body. The next drill will be to stand closer at an angle and just use the arm, using the deltoid and the tricep without using so much body. And he would do the exact same holds and configurations. Now, go to the chin jab. Exactly the same. He's going to try to lift the dummy. And just hold it. And down. And he would do the same thing. Now, if you want to get more power in your technique, then come in. Let's say he's going to do the tiger point. You can grab the belt with one hand. Pull it up. That's it. So he's going to pull as he pushes. Hard. That's it. You want to get that muscular tension and that contraction. And he's also not going to use the hand to practice gouging it. Okay. So that's when you can do this with all your techniques. So that's one way to do it. Now you can do it almost like you're lifting weights and do it repetition. Grab, push and down, push and down. Good, very good. And the last thing you would want to do is, let's say Damien would grab the back of the neck of the dummy. He would put the chin jab and tiger foot, and now he's going to concentrate trying to dig those eyes out. Good. And again. Good. So that gives you several strength training exercises specific to developing explosive power in your technique.
Don't worry too much about training, combinations. You can piece some things together as you like. I mean, no matter what sport combative sport you're doing, judo, wrestling, boxing, kickboxing. I mean, you'll have just a handful of combination that you'll use. When you get into the ring, or you get on the mat, there's a wide variety of things that can happen. Once you really train and understand each of the techniques individually, intimately, I mean, we're talking about thousands upon thousands of repetitions, the combinations and what you'll do will happen, and it'll be specific to you. A lot of times there's a lot of focus with karate studios, not that there's something wrong with it, they're just trying a different means to an end of practicing the combination. Practice the individual techniques, okay, and then start piecing them together, 2 or 3. I wouldn't do more than that. And then what you would do is set up 15-second bursts where you would just go all out ballistic. Starting off with just a drop step to the first short edge of hand, second edge of hand, and then dropping into a chin jab. Again, establishing distance, not winding up. You can practice from either 1 or 3 positions depending on how far your target is from you. Start with your hands by your side, hands folded, lead hand over top, or of course hands crossed by your waist. Stepping in the first combination is just dropping with that drop step edge of hand, snapping it back to position, second edge of hand. Just say a hand's just going to slide down. Don't worry about it, just find it. Whether it's over the arm, under the arm, it doesn't make really any difference. Trapping the arm or holding the arm can make a difference. Post and chin jab. Okay? So just start off nice and easy. 1, 2. Again, just easy. 1, 2. Again. As you get a little more comfortable, you put a little bit more pepper on it. This time, I'm just going to change one element. Step 1. Now I'm going to just take this edge of hand to the body. Okay? Dropping in, chin jab. Next, we'll start with a punch stop. And you can be a punch stop or a tiger claw, doesn't matter, okay? Same body kinetics. We'll step with a punch stop. One, it's going to immediately step back, edge of hand high, low, chin jab, okay? So now we just replace the short edge of hand drop step with the punch stop or tiger claw drop step.
What we're going to do now is we're going to give Damien 15 seconds on the clock. He's going to go full bore for 15. I'll blow the whistle once, he'll start. At the end of 15, I'll blow again, he'll stop. Now, with the chin jab, when you form the chin jab, you want to bend the hand back, you want to claw the fingers as if you were holding a shot put, and what you're going to do is you're going to strike in an upward direction using this area, the heel of the hand, and coming under the chin. When you do this, you want to come up the center line, you want to let your forearm glide right up through his sternum. This way, okay? That's the proper mechanics for the chin jab. It's also very, very good to seize him somehow behind the back, okay? Right at the kidney area. Now, if you notice when I do this, when I grip, I also seize. And I'm going to show you how to train this grip, because this grip is also going to be important. Now, how would you use this? Well, let's say a sudden charge with an overhand grab. Come in hard. This way, okay? All right, as he were to move in, you catch him right with your chin jab. That's a very good drill to do. You could do it very ballistically, very hard with your training partner, and it works very well. So that will give you an idea how you would use a chin jab. Also, you could use it as a follow-through after you attack with the edge of your hand. So now we'll demonstrate how to drill on a spar pro.
Standing in front of your spar pro about a pace away, you can start just square. Okay, we're just going to concentrate on just the mechanics of the chin jab. So I'll be striking with my left hand, so my opposite foot, my right foot is going to be just stepping just to the outside frame of the spar pro. My right hand will be seizing the back of the spar pro. At the same time, we're immediately following, seizing. Now we're going to drive in and make contact with the chin jab as it travels up. Fingers gouge in after contact and drive the head back. I like just as a point after I hit it to drive the head back in this particular instance. So simply we'll step. Again, as always, chin tucked. Head down. Right? Stepping in front again, stepping to the outside. And just a little slower. Seizing the back. Sucking it in. As I'm pulling in and I'm driving, to complicate it too much, really just torquing his back in. Step. Step.
Okay, now the chin jab can be used without the secondary hand seizing, but I want to show you something, why this is important to practice both ways. Let's say Damien were to get me in a body lock, okay, and I would be able to get my hand underneath. I would be able to get my hand underneath his chin. If he locks up strong, and I push, I can push pretty hard. It's not having much of an effect on Damien. But I want you to watch something. Same situation. If I take my off hand and seize his back, at the same time I push, it sets up a different mechanical advantage. When I go to push the chin jab and Damien is able to kick his hips out even a couple inches backwards, he can resist the chin jab. As soon as I push this in, it sets up a whole different scenario. So that's why it's important to get that strong lock. Now, one other thing. Damien, just pick your t-shirt up just a little. This body lock, when I slap this into the kidney and I'm hitting, I want to dig those fingers in and grab meat. I want this to be as vicious a technique as possible. If he's got clothing on, I just don't want to press this here. I want to hit this in and grab. See that? So I have control here as I go in and gouge my fingers and do the chin jab. So that's also very important. The other thing is very simple. If I strike with my right side of my body, I want this to line up in his center line, this way. So that shoots with all the power going up and in. When I gouge the eyes, I lift the elbow. Drive the fingers into the eye sockets. So those are the basics.
So we'll just demonstrate practicing without the grab and without the gouge for the eyes. Again, still stepping. Another important point is just to remember, just if you can, given your differences in height of you and your target, just again, just trying to keep your head just about shoulder level. Okay? Simply because, again, this is where the grabbing and all the striking is going to be generated from. Pretty much that the same level as where the shoulder is. When you're stepping again, my chin jab hits, same as with the edge of hand blow, right before all my weight settles on my lead foot. Step. Don't worry about staying in front of it because both you and your target are not going to be sitting here for long. So just let your body weight go past. Again, even if you miss a couple times, hit up here, hit here, it's going to happen. Keep training through it. Don't stop. Because guaranteed, you're going to miss.
Okay, one other point that I want to bring up So Danny just demonstrated two of the major ways of using a chin jab. One other point that I'd like to just emphasize here, when you hit with the chin jab and you raise this to gouge the eyes, if when you drop the man to the ground and you want to use not just the eye gouge, okay, to drop him back, but you want to use your entire body weight, when you hit with the chin jab and you lift the elbow, if I were now to use this forearm as a blow, I'm striking, I lift this up. Now, instead of just using the hand to push, I take this forearm, I drop it straight on his sternum, and drive him right down, aiming to drive the back of his skull directly into the ground. So, you have two ways of doing it. You have the chin jab that's going to gouge into the eyes to bring the man down, and then you have the chin jab that's going to hit, and it's going to pop into the sternum and drive him straight down. So you have those two methods. Okay, the next fundamental blow that we're going to go over is the tiger's claw. Now the chin jab and the tiger claw are very similar. The hand position is almost exactly the same. The wrist is going to be bent back, the fingers are going to be clawed, the thumb is going to be clawed. The only difference now is that this blow is going to lead straight out into the face. And what you're trying to do is as the blow hits, the fingers are going to hit first, they collapse, then the heel of the hand hits. So the fingers are going to gouge into the eyes. As the power comes in, the hand collapses into the chin and then pushes the entire head back. That's the tiger's claw. And if you notice, it's thrown very similar to a punch. Okay, very good. Now the tiger claw is excellent as a preemptive blow, especially when you're caught flat-footed and you can't blade the body. From this position, if he were just to explode out right into my face, that's a perfect maneuver. And it works excellently in conjunction with the edge of hand blows, especially the horizontal blows, and of course with the chin jab. So the edge of hand blow, the chin jab, the tiger claw, your three fundamental blows give you a really comprehensive street fighting system. And if you understand the mindset of aggression and attack, in a real attack and a real assault and a real street fight, you do not spar, you do not duel. It's not a challenge match. It's an attack. It's an attempted homicide. That's what it is. So you're going to have to do as an aggressive, explosive, powerful defense as possible. Actually, not even a defense, a counterattack. And you've got to take ground. This is what this is designed to do. Okay, the same way that the tiger claw is a blow that's coming straight out this way. The shoulder stop, the single double shoulder stop, are also very effective. In a close-in situation where I wanted to gain distance, and I don't want to do a severely damaging blow, a shoulder stop, let's say a single shoulder stop, that would hit his shoulder to unbalance and maneuver him, okay, is very effective. I like to go to the right side almost immediately. If somebody were to approach me in a threatening manner, and I don't have time to move back, as he comes in, I'm going to hit with that shoulder stop to move this away, to stop him from trying to draw a weapon with either hand, to off-balance him, and also to set up my power hand, either for the tiger claw, for the chin jab, or strike, and come in with the other hand. So the single shoulder stop is a very potent, very good weapon.
Now double.
Good. Now, another thing, I think a lot of people have a problem with this, a misunderstanding. You know, in a real fight, technique happens as it happens. And it's not like a martial arts system per se that is taught in a systemized manner where there is very little tolerance for variance. A shoulder, I can hit this shoulder with a shoulder stop. I can take this hand, hit this shoulder with a shoulder stop. If I were to grab him and spin him, there's nothing to say I couldn't hit the back of his skull with a shoulder stop. I do whatever I have to do at the time. The idea is to learn and attempt to master the physical mechanics. Then you use them however you have to use them. The double shoulder stop is great training to turn into a double tiger's claw. Whatever you have to do at the time, you're going to do. The key is that you have the body sense, the mechanical awareness to hit with the proper speed and power. All right, conditioning the heel or the palm of the hand actually is a little easier and less painful than conditioning the edge of the hand, the fist, the fingertips, all of which we'll cover in later tapes. All you really need right now is a cinder block, and you don't even really need to cover anything. You got to remember that the chin jab is generally going to go to the point of the chin. Very, very hard target. So there's not a lot of cushioning in someone's chin. So it's not really necessary to cushion the strike. But you also, in the same regard, you don't necessarily have to hit that hard. The other thing to realize is that when we condition the base or heel of the hand, we also want to try to condition the palm and the fingertips for both the chin jab and the tiger claw. Starting with the heel of the hand, on the edge of the brick, just practice lightly, about 8 to 10 inches. And I'm concentrating on hitting right with this ridge of the hand, right here, this one, here. Very easy, very light, very simple. And then little by little, you can start hitting harder and harder. I'm sorry, iron palm. Okay, now, the next area to train, since you're training the heel of the hand, is to actually train the palm. Now, for this, we'll start off using the iron palm bag. And all you want to do is just raise the hand about 12 to 14 inches, lightly, and just strike down with a whipping action. I'm trying to get a whipping action. That's what I'm doing to condition the entire area of the palm. Now, for the tiger claw and chin jab, the follow-up is with the fingertips, using a clawing action. So again, if I were to claw my hand and just use my fingertips just to hit. And if you notice, you can see just where the indentations are of where my fingers are striking. So this is how I'm training the base of the palm, the actual flat of the palm, and the fingertips. And again, I'm sorry, if you would bring me my brick. Okay, now, for a little more advanced training, if you again use a thin pad, I actually, underneath here I have a varnish pad that you can get at Home Depot or Lowe's. Very thin pad underneath the heavy grit sandpaper. Now, once you feel comfortable hitting the brick, now you can also practice the same type of techniques that we practiced on the iron palm bag on your brick. So you can also practice the same type of iron palm on your brick, just like you did with the edge of hand blow. However, it's difficult to practice the heel of hand because the brick will have a tendency to rock. So you're better off just practicing the heel of hand blow on the edge of the cinder block. That's probably your best bet. Now, we also discussed the seizing with the rear hand. You'll see in follow-up tapes where we're going to show a number of methods where you're using the thumbs and the fingers to fishhook, to gouge, to claw, to crush. A very, very good method of practicing is to take a heavy grit. This is a woodworker's sponge, sanding sponge. Get these again, Home Depot's or Lowe's. They're thick and they have a gritty coating to them. Use this in a number of ways for your grip exercises. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to replace Captain's or Crush and all these other wonderful grip enhancers. But this sponge can be carried around with you all the time, and you can have several of them throughout the house. I mean, I have one in my office, I have one in my living room, one in the den, and I just practice, and you just practice squeezing. Okay, now, normal grip, but I'm replicating, thinking that I'm grabbing a handful of flesh right over the kidney and crushing that, and crushing that. And you'd be surprised the consistency of this sponge is very close to what it would be to grab a handful of skin. The other thing is that you can practice, this sponge alone can replicate or train you how to see somebody's ear, okay, or how to drive the thumbs into the eye sockets. A lot can be trained with this. We're going to show. What we're going to try to accomplish on this video is to give you an idea of how to train the basic techniques of close quarters combat and to do it without the necessity of a training partner. Now, this is not to say that not having a training partner is an ideal situation, but for many, many people, the ability to train consistently with a group of people or another training partner is very difficult. So it's good to have a system that is productive and effective and allows you to increase your ability in the basics of self-defense and unarmed combat in a manner that does not necessitate having to train on a consistent basis with a training partner. What we're going to do is we're going to break down some of the basic techniques. We're going to demonstrate them with a live training partner. We're then going to show you how to train them using a Spar Pro or a similar type of dummy. Then we're also going to give you an idea of how the blows can be conditioned to make them even more effective. The first blow that we're going to cover is the edge of hand blow. Now, there seems to be some confusion in the method of use when it comes to striking with an edge of hand. What we teach, basically, for a beginner is to simply snap the hand into an open position. The thumb extended, the fingers extended, the hand firm and tensed. Now, this idea is generally for a person with no prior experience. Someone that has training in the martial arts that's used to doing a shuto or tegatana or any type of martial arts edge of hand blow would form the hand in a different position. There is nothing wrong with this. If you've trained in a martial art and you are comfortable with doing this type of hand position and it becomes instinctive, that's fine. Fairbairn's initial concept in teaching people with no prior training was to get them on spot as quickly as possible. So, for them to just snap the hand open convulsively, allow the fingers to be open, not folded, the hand not to be weak, the hand to be tensed, so that when you strike with the edge of hand blow, there was some tension and some snap. That's the reason why we advocate that. It's a blow for a complete beginner, and it's the most effective manner to teach and to use an edge of hand blow. Generally, what we're going to work on as an initial blow is the backhand edge of hand blow. We want to do that with as much body torque as possible. There are a number of different ways to do this. One of the simplest methods for gaining distance is simply called a drop step. What you want to do here is, instead of making any preliminary move, any type of subtle body shifting before you make the charge in, you would simply want to raise the lead foot and just let your weight fall directly in. So you're not giving the guy any clues to what you're doing, okay? There's no subtle movement of the shoulder or the hip. There's no transfer of the weight to a back leg to get a kind of sprinting explosion of push-off. all you would do is simply raise this leg and plant it somewhere along his center line. So the leg would just be raised and the body weight just falls in. Now, we also don't want to telegraph the edge of hand blow at this stage by doing this, because he's going to react to this. So our hands should be in a position that are non-threatening, but also are setting up the blow without a lot of preliminary movement. So, from a type of position that you would want to keep distance when you're first approached, you would move back, open that gap, and then you would move the hands in a position where they're ready to throw the blow. As he were to cross that distance, that's when the blow would come out. Now, it does not have to be directly with the edge of hand. The idea here is that you're chopping from the elbow to the edge of hand. Whatever hits, hits. The hand comes up as a guard as you move in. So if he were to just flail his hands as I move in, my head is protected and this blow comes in. Now I'm dropping this hand so you can see what I'm doing. As I move, this hand would also come up. Now from this position, you can immediately whip back to strike again. You can punch, you can knee, whatever is necessary as a follow-up. So that's going to be the first blow that we're going to practice on the dummy. Well, when you set up your Spark Pro, it's probably a good idea to put some type of garment on it, just to make it a little more realistic. The other thing that's important is you need some kind of index as to where your feet are going to be moving, especially when you're doing a drop step or you're doing any kind of side step or any kind of footwork training. So, a simple way to do this would be either to take a pair of boots and to put them in a position that would simulate where the opponent will be standing, so that you can now practice. If you're trying to practice moving down the center line, you have a point of reference. If, let's say, you were practicing a drop step and foot stunt, where you're trying to crush the instep as you move in to strike the blow, well, this would be your target. So this is how you would train. So this is a very simple way of doing it. If you want, another way just to use as an index would be just take something like dumbbells. Just place them there, just to give you an idea of where the foot position would be. Now, in reality, the assailant could be standing on a line. He could have one foot forward. He could have the other foot forward. So you would replicate the same idea here. You could use whatever you're using as your reference point to replicate different stances. So that would also help you move your footwork depending on how you're going to get into his center line. Okay. Now Damien is going to stand in front of the dummy. He's going to blade himself. Okay. Now he's just going to easily, without using a lot of strength and tension, what he's going to do is just practice the drop step and the edge of hand blow. Very good. Very good. Okay, so the important points are he's using the boots as a reference point, making sure that he's coming down the center line. His elbow is up. His hand is non-telegraphed. The motion of his hand, if you notice, is coming in an upward direction, this way. Important point. He's allowing this, if he were to hit an assailant, if he hits the chest, this is going to ride up, catch the throat, or catch the assailant under the chin. Very important point. When this happens, the balance is destroyed. And that's very, very important. And again, you'll notice that his elbow is up, his head is tucked, this hand is protected. So any type of motion that the assailant were to make in reaction, you've got a very good cover. A couple more times. Now increase the distance, step back a little bit more. Very good. Okay, what you do is little by little, you increase the distance and you train even more explosively for the drop step. Very good, very good. And that's how you would train the drop step and the initial short edge of hand blow. Okay, very good. Just give us an idea how you would drill it. Now, Damien is starting with his hands from a lowered position. This is a very good idea to train this because from here you're going to develop a lot of hand speed. Okay? From the setup, any of the setups that we used, you would train those as well. But if you can throw a blow from your hands at the side when you're caught completely flat-footed and do it without a lot of telegraphing and with a lot of speed and explosive power, it's an excellent way to train it. Good, very good. All right, so that's the most basic initial technique to close the gap to get distance. It's a preemptive strike. It's very effective. It's contingent on being able to open the distance, challenge the assailant. As he attempts to close the distance, that's when you attack. That's what you're trying to replicate when you train with the dummy. Now, from that initial drop step, good, good drop step. From that initial strike, now we have to have a follow-up. The simplest follow-up after he strikes and stops me would be to use the same hand and to continue using edge of hand blows to attack. Now, what we're going to practice from here, we're going to separate this or divorce this from the drop step. What you want to try to do now is you want to use a lot of torquing with the hip and let this hand whip. This whips. Now you could use the hip and the body, whipping and snapping as you move in. You still want to keep the elbow up as a protection. This is going to accomplish a couple things. If he closes quickly, he's got to worry about this elbow. It's also used as a point of reference, and it's your defensive cover. So you want to keep that elbow up as you whip and whip continually into the target. Simple way to remember vulnerable areas. From the bridge of the nose to the base of the throat, anywhere in this area. From the temple to the base of the neck, anywhere in this area. You're going to hit something that's going to cause damage. So what you're going to practice now is you want to get this whip, this shocking whipping effect, short. Okay, you don't want to wind up. It's not necessary right now. After you stop them, now you want to hammer them rapidly and as powerfully and quickly as possible. Okay, so now the training drills from this position, we're going to break this down into a separate unit. What you would do is now you've already entered in with the drop step and the initial edge of hand blow. Now you're just going to practice the whipping or short, close-in edge of hand blow. So all you want to do is you want to replicate the position from here. Now you just want to strike from this position. Use a lot of hip, legs, and you want to hit as hard and fast as possible. Any target from the bridge of the nose to the base of the throat, from the temple to the base of the neck. you notice when Damien moves, I want you to pay close attention to how he's using the hip, how he's using the legs, how he's using this to generate power, again, and the whip. He's allowing this blow to whip off the target. Elbow up, face protected, side stance, protecting the groin, and constantly whipping as hard as possible into the target. Now, even if an assailant were to try to bring the hands up to defend, you smash those hands either down or right back into him, and you keep on attacking. You've got to take ground. That's what will help you win or survive this situation. Okay, just to give a quick review. The edge of hand blow can be used in so many different ways against so many different situations. It really is a preeminent blow to try to gain some mastery over, because it really can be used in just such a wide variety of situations that I don't think it's given its just due. Like I said, it can be used in a backhanded manner, it can be used in a downward manner. You can hit bone with it, you can hit muscle. Like I said, striking into the throat could be just as effective as hitting into the solar plexus, as hitting into the collarbone, as hitting to the back of the neck, hitting to the kidneys. Even the muscles of the legs and the arms are going to take a terrific pounding when you really learn to condition this edge of hand blow. And like I said before, you have to be able to train it in order to get the type of effect into a soft body target, let's say the side of the neck, that you would have an effect hitting the temple, hitting side of the neck, hitting the collarbone, hitting the muscle of the forearm, right here, okay, hitting the bone. Let's say if the hand was turned this way, hitting the bone. All these blows have to be effective as you hit. And like I said, you're going to work in combination and also in different angles. So what we're going to do now is we're going to replicate on the dummy how we train for striking with different angles. Okay, back with our spar pro. The Chinese call the edge of hand blow the 1,000 hand blow. And as a matter of fact, if you were to look at the symbol in Chinese that describes the edge of hand blow, you'll notice that it's a series of vertical, horizontal, and angular slashes. And that's what demonstrates how the blow can be used. So, virtually any type of angle can be used. If it's trained, it can be used powerfully. Our predominant ones, of course, are the horizontal, this way, and the vertical, striking down vertically, coming into the collarbone, back of the neck. Those are the two simplest ones. But you have a variety of targets that can be struck. The blow can be struck upwards into the throat, underneath the nose this way, into the solar plexus, into the ribs, okay? The bridge of the nose can be struck in a downward angular motion this way. Let this bounce as you strike. Come under the nose, then into the throat. Into the nose, solar plexus, then the throat. So the blow can be used at any of these targets. And what you do is you pick a series or a sequence that makes sense. If I strike under the nose, this is going to try to lift the head, snap it back, and expose the throat. I might strike the collarbone on one side, collarbone on the next, go into the side of the neck, go into the temple. Strike the temple, strike the side neck, strike the rib. Sidestep into the throat, into the nose. Any combination that's logical and makes sense. Just practice, pick a combination and practice it. if Damien would have slowed down a little bit, he'll explain what he's doing and how he's doing it.
First combination I like to warm up with is just this vertical edge hand to the collarbone, snapping it back, dropping it to the other side, snapping it back, dropping it to the side of the head. And then again, 1, 2, 3. As always, keeping the elbow up, snapping the hand back to position. 1, 2, 3. And again, for these combinations, don't worry so much about telegraphing it. It's because we're just training, hardwiring all this stuff into our brain. 1, 2, 3. Great. Now I can follow up with the other side, which is just going to step 1, 2, 3. Again to the other side. Let your feet be very comfortable. Step where you want it. You're not going to be put in stone. Okay, your feet aren't in cement, so let them move, be very natural. 1, 2, 3. Again with the other side. 1, 2, 3. And then just snap and snap, 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 snap. Just get a little comfortable with that. Put some weight in your feet and practice just stopping and dropping right after the hand hits. So make sure that you have you're putting all your weight and your energy into that point of contact. So 1, 2, 3. Other side. 1, 2, 3. You get a little bit more comfortable, and just have at it, and just start really just knocking the heck out of it.
Good. Okay, a couple other points that are important. Damien explained with the footwork. In a real fight, those stutter steps and those stomp steps are very important, because as he's hitting me, and now I'm either defending or whatever I'm doing, those stomps could be foot destructions. He is smashing on my feet, smashing on my instep. They're also good training for these very quick, fast flicking kicks that you would use. As you're moving in, you just, especially with boots or shoes on, don't underestimate these, to the kneecap, underneath the patella, into the shin. So that's also good training. Like Damien said, you're not rooted in cement. Footwork is very, very important. You want to move like a boxer moves. You want to be able to shuffle, quick sidestep, retreat, attack, in conjunction with the hand blows. Very, very simple. Damien showed you a very, very basic combination. You can come up with hundreds on your own. Very, very simple. This is how you want to train with the Spar Pro. This also, to address this concept of aliveness in training. Okay, now the way he's doing it now, this is how you would do it in the beginning to learn. Okay, very stilted, very by rote, very mechanical. And anybody that saw this would say, well, no one's going to fight like this, and they'd be absolutely right. So when people talk about aliveness training, aliveness is in your head and in your heart. It's how you put your emotions and your intent into your training. So to watch what Damien just did, anyone would say, well, other than giving you a mechanical understanding of the technique, it's almost a pointless method of training. Now he's going to do it with intent, like he's really fighting somebody. Good. That's how you bring aliveness training into your solo and drills and into your dummy training. Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about conditioning the edge of hand blow. Now this is a touchy subject because there is a risk of injury and damage, and it's not really necessary for most people to take this to extremes. If you want to take it to extremes, that's your prerogative, but you should do some conditioning in order to strengthen and toughen the weapon, and also to give you confidence that you actually have a weapon. I think this is very important. This allows you to move into your attack with 100% confidence in damaging the assailant as opposed to damaging yourself. And I think that's a major, major factor in being able to get the proper mindset and the proper physical explosiveness to drive through an attack. You have to concentrate 100% on the damage that you're doing to your assailant. You cannot be of a split mind and be worrying about injury that you might cause yourself. So I think conditioning is a very important part, almost mandatory. The only consideration will be the level of conditioning that you want to go to. And that is, purely your discretion. Okay, we don't have to get too involved. As a matter of fact, probably stuff that you can generally find around your house or that would be easily purchased at a local hardware store is fine, is more than sufficient. I like to start with a cinder block, and what we'll do is you're going to take an ordinary brick, an ordinary house brick, and as Damien has done here, there is a sponge that is duct taped to the brick, and over it is some sandpaper. Now you can see here, this is another way of doing it, where I have a thin layer of cushioning, and what I have is an actual piece of sandpaper. This is from a belt sander. It's a very rough grit. All you do is cut it and just attach it with rubber bands. Now, what this allows you to do is to replicate how the human body is going to feel. Even if you were to look at the skull area, there's going to be a covering of skin, a light layer of muscle, and then there's going to be bone. So this is what we're trying to replicate here. We're trying to replicate a little bit of a give on the surface area, and then underneath a very hard surface. So what we will be doing initially when we practice this is to try to get a feel of penetrating through the target in a manner that would replicate how it might feel to hit a human being. You can start very, very easily just by lightly make your edge of hand blow and just lightly tap it. I'm tapping lightly for me. You start at whatever level of intensity you want, but it's very loose. Don't tense up and just try to feel. Try to feel the weight of the arm as it goes into the target. Now, another thing that you can do is, again, now this is a sponge. It's got a little bit of thickness to it. Not too much, but it's dense. You can place this on your cinder block. Once again, place your brick on top of that. Now this will give you the same type of feeling on the surface area, but it will give you a little bit of cushion to drive into a little bit of the brick, so you can hit it a little bit harder. What you want to do is you want to concentrate on the edge of the hand. You don't want to hit the pinky. You want to toughen the area, but most of all, you want to get confidence that your blow actually has some kind of effect. That's really the primary purpose of this. Not necessarily to toughen the handle, that's very important, and certainly not to show off. The idea is that you start to feel that, yeah, I have a weapon here that can do some damage. That's the most important thing. All right, palm bed. Okay, here's a commercially available iron palm bag. Now again, you could just set this on top and just start. Start lightly. Just practice. And if you notice, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to nail that groove. I'm actually trying to cut this bag in half. That's what I'm trying to do. Again, you start lightly, more intensity, more intensity. What you want to try to do with a bag like this is, I want to try to get that groove. I want to try to separate that material with each strike. I want to get that groove with each strike.